Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Happy Easter. I'm so happy to be joining you today for Miss Erica's crazy costume catastrophe. And this is a very special Easter edition, which means we have a very special guest in a very special costume coming at the end. I also will be wearing a mermaid tail at one point, so please look out for that. Right now, I'm wearing this sweet unicorn headband. Don't know what that has to do with Easter, but that's okay. I'm so glad you guys are here, and I'm so glad to be sharing some of the Easter story with you. So, first, I want to show you where we're at in our big Bible timeline. So this week with our Big Bible timeline, I actually want to show you a timeline of the entire Bible and how Jesus' death and resurrection fits into the entire story of the Bible. Fun fact, this whole book is about Jesus dying and Jesus coming back to life. Every story in it comes to life and has new meaning because Jesus died and because he came back to life. And without knowing that story, none of the other stories make sense. So I wanted to show you a big Bible timeline of the entire Bible, and we can see how this story, the Easter story, fits into that timeline. Okay, so now I want to tell you a story that happened on Easter. Just a little bit of recap. Jesus dies. Part of Easter is about Jesus dying, and that part is sad. But if we don't talk about that part, then Jesus coming back to life makes no sense. So I just want to remind us of that. That part's really sad, but it is really important. Jesus dies on what we call Good Friday. That's when they nail him on the cross and he dies. And it's a really sad day. Then some of his friends come and they bury him in a tomb, and he stays dead until Sunday morning. But then Sunday morning, Jesus comes back to life. So it is a sad story, but it has a really happy ending. And the happy ending doesn't make sense unless we talk about the sad part. So I just wanted to go over that with you. But now we're going to fast forward to Easter morning. Jesus is alive.
Jesus is alive!
So, Jesus is alive. He has appeared to a few of his friends, but not everybody knows he's alive yet. And so it's actually evening time. Two of his friends are leaving Jerusalem. They have seen him die. They are honestly just overwhelmed. And they felt like Jesus was like a real prophet who was going to save them, but they've just watched him die. So they've kind of given up. They don't really have a lot of hope, and they just decide to go back to Emmaus where they live. So they're just walking home, and they're just talking to each other about like what on earth just happened. And then Jesus appears to them. He just pops there out of nowhere, but they don't notice him. We don't know why. We don't know if they're just too sad to notice him or if Jesus maybe prevents them, but they don't notice that it's Jesus. So Jesus appears, and he's like, "Hey guys, what's up? What are you talking about?" And they kind of start to tell him what's been happening over the last few days in the city. So they're kind of like, "Are you the only person on earth who doesn't know what's been happening?" And they start to tell Jesus about Jesus. They tell him that we had this friend. We thought he was a prophet. We thought he was the anointed one, the Messiah. We thought he was coming to save us, but we just watched him die, and we don't know what to think anymore. We have heard that some of our friends said that they saw him this morning, but that doesn't make sense because he's dead. And they're just really confused. And then Jesus says these really cool words to them. So he sees them talking, and he just says, "Hey guys, are you slow of mind, and are you slow of heart?" So he's kind of like gently making fun of them. Like, "Come on, guys, it's me." And then he says, "Don't you know that in the whole Bible, like we talked about, in the whole Bible, it keeps talking about an anointed one, the Son of Man, the Messiah, a king coming who would die. and that had to happen. Don't you remember that? And then he actually walks them through the whole Bible, just like the big Bible timeline we do. Jesus walks them through the whole Bible and tells them, remember, all of these things had to happen. We've been waiting for this person, this King of Kings, to come and die and be risen again. Don't you remember? And then they actually get to Emmaus and they have dinner. And then it's like these guys wake up and they realize, oh, this is Jesus. He's here. And then they actually run back to Jerusalem and tell everybody they know that Jesus is alive. And so that's just what I want to encourage you with, that Easter is about Jesus being alive. And Easter doesn't make sense unless Jesus is alive. But the Bible doesn't make sense either unless Jesus dies and he comes back to life. So that's what I want to remind you guys of this week. And going forward, no matter what story we're studying in God's garden, no matter what story you're reading at bedtime with your mom and dad in the Bible, even when you're reading the Bible by yourself, just keep that in mind, that every story comes to life. Every story makes sense because Jesus died and because Jesus rose again. That's how Jesus talked to his friends about the Bible, and that's what I wanted to encourage you guys with today, that Jesus is alive.
Jesus is alive. Jesus is alive. Jesus is God's son and he's alive.
Okay, so now I have a special treat for you. My kids told me I had to dress up like a mermaid, so get ready for that.